Excuse me, everyone. Hi.
Hi.
My name's Anton. I'll be looking after you today. And I just thought while you're making a decision, I might run through our special for you.
Oh no, that's going to make it even harder.
It's like that, isn't it? All right. Our special is 100% Australian Wagyu beef that has been removed from its mother when it was just a few days old and spent the next several weeks terrified and lonely but just had to get used to it. It was then taken to a feedlot where it stood around for months, marinating, knee-deep in its own poo, and was fed a ridiculously rich diet that children in developing countries could only dream of. Of course, he was branded, castrated and dehorned, then suddenly dragged away to an abattoir where he spent the next couple of days standing around smelling his imminent death until a bolt was shot right through his head. We assume that he died instantly, although it was very difficult to tell with his body jerking around so much while it was being hacked to pieces. Of course, it is amusing to note that at one time his unusable remains would have been turned into stock feed and possibly fed back to his own mother. Sadly, mad cow disease put an end to that. His bones, intestines and other gross leftovers were then divided into fertiliser, sausages and organ donations for people who don't have private health cover. Meanwhile, we lightly char-grill the fillet that's been torn from the bones along his back and we serve it with a béarnaise sauce. I'll just give you a little minute to think about that, shall I?
Oh, I don't need any more time. I'll have the beef.
Me too.
Sounds lovely. Everyone, beef? Good choice.
Anyone know what they're going to have?
Oh, is there anything else to have besides oysters? God, don't you just love them?
Have you ever been to a place that does nothing but oysters?
Just can't believe they can do oysters in so many different ways.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm Anton and I'll be looking after you today. And have we got an entree special for you?
Let me guess. Oysters.
Of course. But these are a special dozen. They've been freshly shucked and selected by the chef himself. And seeing as oysters are the sewerage system of the sea, they've grown plump and juicy on the excrement of other sea creatures and possibly human excrement as well, since the currents around the sewage outfalls can move the human shit a very long way indeed. Not that anyone who's had the oysters today has complained of nausea or chills or vomiting or uncontrollable, explosive, violent diarrhoea. But I actually never know. Thackeray once said that eating an oyster was like swallowing a baby. So if you're into baby swallowing, ours are very babyish indeed. Mind you, I have heard them compared to snot in a spit bucket. I'll be back in a minute to take your order.
Thank you. This way. Would you care for something from the bar?
The bar?
Yes, a drink, perhaps a glass of wine.
Oh no, I think we'll just open that, thanks.
Are you taking back your gift?
Gift?
Well, you've just given this to me.
No, I didn't give it to you, I placed it in your care.
Well, you didn't make that clear. How am I supposed to know it wasn't a gift?
Well, I didn't think I had to spell it out.
Well, when people give me things, it's usually a gift. Like at Christmas, I don't ask whether people are placing things in my care.
Look, this is a restaurant you offer BYO. I'm sure people give you bottles of wine all the time.
Yes. My gifts.
From complete strangers.
Excuse me, waiter. Here's a little something for you.
A little gift. Thank you.
I don't believe this.
Look, I can see you're going to sulk, so I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do you a favour. I'll give you a gift. A glass of my wine.
Thank you.
Yes, and you'd better tip. It's very nice wine.
I've been looking forward to this all day.
Oh, me too. Oh, lovely.
And sir,
Thank you.
hope you enjoy your meals.
No. There seems to be a problem with my meal. I ordered a rare steak.
Yes, sir.
Well, this steak is certainly not rare.
Sir, I can assure you that...
Oh, you can assure me, can you? Well, if this steak is so rare, then how come it's exactly the same as this chap's over here, this man here, this woman, and this bloke here? Now, I wanted my steak to be rare, a one-off, a steak unlike any other.
When Sir orders his steak rare, I assumed that he wanted a blue steak?
Blue, yes, exactly. Now, a blue steak would have been something to be very proud about, something to marvel over. One of those culinary rarities that one might tell one's children about. You know, ooh, it was a blue steak. Yet, what do I get? I get this common as muck garden variety piece of dog brown boring meat that's no different to any other piece of brown, boring dog meat in the room. Thank you very much.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Just leave the steak and enjoy your roasted Mediterranean-style root vegetables.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Oh, no. Just a minute. I ordered root vegetables.
Yes, sir.
Well, look at them. They're not rooting. They're not even kissing.
Menu for you there, madam. Thank you. Menu for you there, sir. Now, could I take a moment to run you through the special tonight?
Yes, please.
We got beef bacon yard, raw socks last, just $9.99. Then we've also got steak Diane, buy one, get one free. How do we do it for the price? Lots of Domino's on special too, just $14.99. That's below cost. You won't find home cuisine bargains like this anywhere else, so get them while they're hot. What about escargot? Out they go, $1 each. They may be snails, but I've never seen them move so fast. We're also slashing the prices off our famous French desserts. Pastries, 10 cents each, and that's no cake. And if you can find better French provincial cooking anywhere else, bring us the receipt and the leftovers, and we'll beat the price by 10%. But hurry, it's only for a limited time. Now I'll come back in a moment and take your order, shall I?
What are you going to have, hon?
I don't know. There's just so much to choose from.
Hello, I'm Anton. I'll be your waiter this evening.
No.
Now, do you have any questions about the menu?
Oh, yes. Is there anything you'd especially recommend?
Well, if you like pâté,
Yes, please.
then may I recommend the mushrooms stuffed with pâté de foie gras.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, our homemade pâté comes from geese that have lived their lives packed into tiny, dung-strewn cages in dark, windowless factories far from their watery habitat. A 16-centimetre metal tube attached to a high-pressure pneumatic pump is then stuck down the bird's throat so that a sludgy paste of high-calorie cornmeal can be forced into its distended belly 4 times a day for a period of 28 days. Now, over that time, the bird's abdomen becomes so engorged that even breathing becomes painful, while the cirrhotic inflamed liver swells to over 10 times its natural size, liable to rupture at even the slightest movement. With food finally spilling out of its nostrils, the bird's head is hacked off and the liver chopped out before the body has even had a chance to stop jerking. The grossly formed organ is then pureed with a variety of herbs, spices and chemicals.
Oh, God. I was hungry before. I'm ravenous now.
Now, as for the mushroom...
Oh, hey, no need to oversell it. You had me with the 16-centimetre tube.
So, 4 pâtés then?
Thank you.
Excellent choice.
And now, if there are any questions,
Yeah, what's the fish of the day?
it's a rainbow trout. It's oven baked in a white wine and garlic sauce, sprinkled with sea salt, and rested on a celeriac and Pontiac mash. Then it's served with a salad of rocket and cherry tomatoes that's drizzled with balsamic in an individual porcelain bowl.
Excuse me, where would I find the bathroom?
Just over there. First, you stand up and walk over there. The door is open, the fly is unzipped, then the penis is taken out and rested in the hand. Finally, the bladder is emptied, with the urine carefully drizzled in an individual porcelain bowl.
It's too much. Too much.
God, it all just sounds great.
Doesn't it, though?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Anton. I'll be serving you tonight.
Hi.
Now, before you get too attached to the menu, I should take you through tonight's special.
Oh, no.
No, sorry, chef, never makes it easy. Now, if anyone here is a fan of meat from a cute little baby animal killed when it was just 14 weeks old, then you'll love our milk-fed veal. Of course, when I say milk, what I really mean is a milk substitute that has no iron in it. Now, that keeps the baby calf anemic and gives it that delightfully pink flesh we all love so much. Naturally, chef chooses all of the veal himself, so that only cuts containing the finest hormones and antibiotic-borne morbid fungal infections make it to your table. Finally, I should add that all of our veal calves are kept locked in a restraining box, so they can't even turn around.
Oh, thank God.
Sorry, I should have said earlier.
I mean, how can you expect tender veal if the calves get to do a whole lot of running around in paddocks with sunlight and fresh air?
So, 4 veals, is it?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Sounds delicious.
Thank you, Anton.
Good evening. My name's Anton. I'll be your waiter. Now, would you like to hear tonight's special?
Well, I did have my heart set on the lamb.
But go on.
Tonight, we have a wonderful venison saltimbocca.
How's that come?
Well, our sirloin of venison comes from a deer born in the forest, where it enjoyed a wonderful, carefree life, frolicking with its friends and family, until one day a big fat man with a large caliber rifle appeared, and right in front of the deer's eyes, shot its mother straight through the heart. Startled, the deer didn't know what to do, so it just stood there until the second shot rang out and felled its father through the spine. Realising there was trouble, the deer ran away as fast as it could in a blind panic. But little did it know, it had run straight into the crosshairs of the telescopic rifle sight of the hunter's companion. Now, a microsecond later, a little lump of lead, jacketed in copper, came screaming through the air at twice the speed of sound and blew the deer's skull apart in a shower of atomised blood and pulped grey matter. As the deer lay jerking on the ground in its final death throes, the hunters came up, cut its head off, dragged it to a nearby 4-wheel drive, lashed it to the bull bar, and drove it into town, where it was promptly skinned, hacked to pieces, and transported to this very restaurant for your dining pleasure.
And when did all this happen?
Not 48 hours ago, sir.
Good. I like my meat fresh. I'll have that.
Excellent choice. And for you, madam?
Baby spatchcock for me, thanks.
Nancy, it's just a baby.
Yeah, you're right. It might not be big enough. The venison for me too, please.
Excellent choice.
Doesn't it all look superb?
You look superb.
Stop it.
Good evening, my name's Anton. I'll be your waiter. Do you have any questions about the menu?
Yeah, the pork. How's that done?
Well, all our pork is sourced from sows kept in a year-round state of perpetual impregnation, confined to 2-foot-wide breeding cages, too narrow for the beast to step forward, backwards, turn around, or even lie down. Its underside covered in ulcerated sores because bedding, such as straw, is deemed an unnecessary expense. Towards the end of the 7-month pregnancy, the sows are then transferred to even more cramped farrowing cages to give birth, where the carcasses of dead piglets crawling with maggots litter steel-grated floors. After 7 days, the sows are then re-impregnated or, if barren, are slaughtered and their bodies minced, bones and all, and made into garden fertiliser. The newly orphaned piglets are then sent for fattening to giant, overcrowded, disease-ridden sheds where they'll suffer a variety of mutilations, such as having their ears notched for identification purposes, as well as having their little curly tails removed to stop them chewing them off with nervous anxiety. After 6 months of abject misery, now suffering obesity from lack of exercise, chronic pneumonia, broken legs, abscesses, ruptured stomachs, gastroenteritis, deformed spines, meningitis and salmonellosis, the pigs reach their slaughter weight and are packed off to the abattoir where, if all goes well, they're stunned with a metal bolt through the brain before being hung upside down to bleed out. Though most probably the brain death procedure will be botched and the animal will be dropped into the scalding tank fully conscious to be boiled alive before being eviscerated, hacked to pieces and roasted with a salt crust for your dining pleasure. Now, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, does that come with the nice crispy crackling?
Oh, it certainly does.
Pork it is then.
Make it 2.
Does sound too good to resist, doesn't it?
You say that.
Hello again. How did you all enjoy your meals?
Superb, thank you.
You were right. That baby chicken smashed flat with a mallet was delicious.
Wonderful. Now, can I interest anyone in a coffee?
Oh, I'd love one. What do you have?
Well, we have a magnificent range. All of our coffee beans come from impoverished developing nations.
Oh, they grow the best coffee beans, don't they?
They do, but you have to know just how to treat them. First, you start by gently allowing Western nations to force the deregulation of world coffee markets so there's an oversupply. Then at just the right moment, the price of coffee crashes, destroying the livelihoods of poor coffee-growing families who practically have to give away their crops just to stay alive. The multinationals get the coffee beans for next to nothing, but then slowly warm up the price to get a really rich, satisfying profit margin. Finally, our barista imports his favourite blends without regard for the terrible hardships they represent.
Did you hear that? They roast their own beans here.
Well, you've convinced me. A long black Ugandan, thanks.
Skinny Nicaraguan for me, thanks.
And for you, mate?
I suppose I better do my part.
A short, weak Ethiopian, thank you.
Of course.
And Miss Brett.
Excuse me, can I ask you something about the menu?
Of course.
It says here, real human baby, deep fried with chips or salad. That can't be right, can it?
No, sorry. That should say sautéed.
Thought so. You'd ruin the flesh by deep frying it.
Indeed, you would.
Great. Well, I'll have the human baby with chips. Sweetheart, same for you?
Good God, no. Ugh, I'll have it with the salad, thanks.
Wow, this looks as good as the reviews said.
Doesn't it just?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Anton. I'm your waiter this evening.
Hi.
Now, just to make things a little more difficult for you, I thought I might take you through our special tonight. It's our wonderfully fresh spring lobster with Thai dressing. Now, it's prepared very simply. You just choose your victim from that tank over there, where it's been starved for a couple of days, allowing the regurgitation of all excrement. It's then taken to the kitchen for chef to either split its head down the middle with a cleaver or throw it alive into a big pot of boiling water to writhe around in agony until it finally dies, just depending on his mood. Now, regarding the other seafood on the menu, the swordfish is superbly good. And I know, because I removed the 3-foot parasitic worm from its intestine myself just this morning. So I'll give you a moment to make your decision.
So, what are you thinking of having?
Oh, the lobster, for sure.
I don't think I can resist either.
I just hope the chef's in a beheading mood.
Fingers crossed.
Yum.
Sorry, sir, is there a problem?
Yes, I asked for my bill about a half an hour ago and it still hasn't come.
I'm terribly sorry, sir. I'll get that for you right away.
So how is it?
Bloody thing's cold.
I can't decide.
No, it all looks so amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Anton. I'll be your waiter this evening.
Hi.
Now, just to let you know, the fish of the day today is an absolutely beautiful Atlantic salmon that's farmed in a cramped enclosure with maybe 50,000 other fish, bumping, fighting, pooing all over each other like crazy. In fact, if you have a delicate palate, you may just be able to taste hints of the incredible fecal stew it's spent its entire life swimming around in. Tons and tons of fish poo.
Stop. Stop. I'm drooling here. I'll have the Atlantic salmon. Yum.
Same here.
Better make it 3, thanks.
And for you, Sam?
Can I just ask, how is the chicken done?
The chicken, that's raised without feet in an overcrowded, stench-ridden cage, bloated with hormones, loaded up with antibiotics, and then killed by having its head chopped off and slowly bleeding to death.
Better have that then. It was close though.
Ladies and gentlemen, while you're choosing your meals, perhaps I could take your wine orders.
What would you recommend? I think we're all drinking red tonight. Is that all right with you, Simon?
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm driving.
Okay, these are all of our reds here. Ostensibly, they're divided into variety, though each section really just indicates whether the wine's been marked up by 50, 80, 200 or 1200%. Now, sir, you mentioned you were driving.
Yep, that's right.
Well, thank you for taking responsibility and telling me. I'll take that as a personal challenge to make sure you've forgotten that by the end of the evening. Now, we do have a special tonight. It's a 94 Barossa Shiraz on sale for only $150. Of course, you could pick up a bottle for about $20 down the road. Then again, we would have to add corkage to that, which would bring the total up to about $200. So I really wouldn't bother with BYO if I were you. Now, this one is my personal favourite. It has a delightfully earthy start, a raisiny finish, and a granity palate. And yes, before you ask, we do just make those descriptions up on the spot. Now, do you have any questions?
Actually, I think we'll just start with a bottle of the Yarra Grenache, thanks.
The second least expensive wine on the menu, an excellent choice, sir. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll just get you all some oversized wine glasses so you lose track of how much you're drinking.